am trying so hard to get through a tutorial for you guys today. It's one of the nicest days we've had since this horrible winter, and the wind will not stop. I can work in it, but I can't record in it because all you hear is wind. I don't even know if you can hear me now. So I hope you appreciate this tutorial. Hey guys, it's Trisha with Upcycled Stuff. So spring is finally here. It is a beautiful weekend, and so I decided it was time to get outside and do some projects in the garden. So I came up with this cute little edging made from pallets and soda bottles, and this is going to be edging for my garden around the mailbox. So this edging is very similar to what you would see at your local like Lowe's or Home Depot or any other nursery where they have little wooden edgings and whatnot, but this is better because it's upcycled. It's made from pallets and soda bottles, not all new materials. So let me show you what you need to make this. Okay, so here, this looks like so many supplies. It actually is, but hopefully you have some of these things in your workshop already. So the first thing you're gonna need, obviously, is some scrap wood. I have some long planks from a pallet that I'm gonna cut up on the chop saw to different lengths. Then, of course, for putting them together, you'll need some soda bottles, which is what I have here. And then you'll also need these metal rods. These are 1/8 inch metal rods, and you can find them in the hardware aisle, like where all your nuts, bolts, screws, and all that kind of stuff are at the hardware store. I can get 4 9-inch pieces from this, which is what I'm using, but you can probably get away with doing 6-inch pieces and making them shorter. I think I paid about $2 for each one. And then some of the safety stuff. Don't forget glasses, especially for when you're cutting up that wood. And also when you're handling the wood, you'll want gloves. Now I'm not sanding mine, so gloves are especially important, but if you want to sand yours, you'll need a sander too. You'll need, so this right here, you don't need this. The ruler I've taped down to the table so I can use it as a place to line up all my planks so that I know that they're straight before I staple everything together. So I don't have crooked fence pieces. So some of the tools you'll need a rubber mallet or a hammer of some sort, and that's just for pounding in your metal stakes. You'll need a screwdriver with a 1/8 inch drill bit for drilling your holes for those metal rods. For cutting, so I have a pair of wire cutters to cut my metal stakes, and then these are just for cutting soda bottles. So I like to get mine started with a knife blade and then cut with scissors. If you have sharp enough scissors to get the first puncture through your soda bottle, then scissors are fine. And then finally, you'll need a staple gun. Now if you want to try to use a hammer and nails instead of a staple gun, I haven't done it before, but if you do, I would just recommend using a nail with a wide enough head that it's not going to fall through or like wiggle its way through the plastic from the soda bottle. So if you don't have a staple gun and you want to try hammer nails, that's my suggestion there. So I'm going to get started by bringing my pallets over to the chop saw and just start chopping a bunch of pieces in different lengths, and then we can get together assembling those. Okay, now that you have your wood cut up into pieces, it's a good idea to get all your other pieces cut to length and ready to go so the assembly process is easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my my metal dowels and my wire cutters, and I'm going to cut them each into 4 pieces so that they're 9 inches long. Again, I really think you can probably get away with 6 inches, but I needed a little more support because I was actually adding a little bit of a raised bed as well. So I wanted it to really hold the soil in. So just measure out 9 inches and give it a good cut. And then do that for the rest of your rods. Then you can take your soda bottle and cut that. So I just cut off the bottom and the top. Be careful to not cut where the dome is. You want to make sure that your bottle has gone flat, and if you can see, there's usually a little line left where the label was, that's a good place to start cutting. Otherwise you have to trim it back later. So I usually just stick my blade in to make enough room for the scissors. And then start cutting to remove those two pieces. And then you're going to cut down the middle. And fold your bottle in half. Just makes it easier to cut, in my opinion. And then you can measure if you want to, but I'm an estimate kind of girl. Cut somewhere down the middle to make 2 long strips. Now through practice I've learned that this is going to be a little bit long, so I like to just cut off my ends where the plastic was from the label. And then if you want to trim this up, you can, but this is going to be on the back side, so I don't worry too much about it being perfectly straight. But you want to get a sheet of plastic, something like this, and then you can just make sure that's washed off so you don't have any sticky residue on there. And then do the same thing. You need 1 strip for each section of your fencing. And each strip will hold, in this pallet wood that I have will hold about 4 pieces of pallet wood. Okay, I have all my parts cut up and I'm ready to assemble my fences. So the first thing I've done is I've taken 4 pieces and I've arranged them in a manner that looks appealing to me along my ruler so that I know that it's straight along the bottom. Because all these boards are going to be warped and they're going to be crooked and they're going to be split. So as long as I know that it's even along the bottom, again, I'm using this as a border to hold in a small raised garden, so I really don't want soil to be spilling out from any of the uneven planks. So I have it laid out. Now this is the way I want it to look when I'm done. So I'm going to flip all my boards over because this is what I want to show. So I'm going to attach my plastic pieces to the back. And it doesn't usually matter so much, but look, some of these, this is gray and this is more brown. Same thing with this one. They're different colors on different sides. So I want to make sure that the arrangement turns out the way I want it to. So I'm going to just flip those out to the other side. Get them realigned. Now that they're where I want them, before I get these put together, I'm going to take my drill and I'm going to drill a hole on the ends. So I'm going to take this board and drill a hole here and then one over here at this end. And I'm going to just do that with my 1/8 inch drill bit because that's the size steel rod that I'm using. And then I'm going to just take one of my rods and stick it in each one of those holes. You may need to take a little bit of a rubber mallet or a hammer. Probably not a rubber mallet on the end of those, but just to make sure it's in there. And if you want to, you can use a little bit of silicone on the rod just to make sure it stays, but I don't think it's really necessary. So let's do our other one. Okay, now we can put our plastic soda bottle piece on there. So grab your staple gun and a piece of this soda bottle. And we're literally going to just lay this strip across the back, and then we're going to start stapling. I like to start in the corners, the 4 corners of the piece, and then add staples to each one of the planks to make sure everything is attached really well. So make sure before you start stapling that it reaches across all 4 pieces. Some of these planks can be really tough, so I found it's best to put a little extra weight on it, but make sure that the bottom of your stapler is flat on the surface. Make sure it's not at an angle. And even then, sometimes I have to go back with a hammer and bang in a little bit more. So that's it. That's all you have to do for these planks. Go ahead and finish these up, and then I'm going to take you up to the garden and show you my finished project. And when your pieces are all finished, you can just use a rubber mallet for pounding the boards a little into the ground, but mostly you want to pound those stakes into the ground. And here you can see I've put a little raised bed. I have about, I think I have 3 very large bags of potting soil that I put in there, and it's holding very well. So enjoy!